But Kat Cammack, Republican from Florida, joining me now. Congresswoman, good to see you. I'm looking at one of these indexes that they come out with showing the COVID rates. And of course, you see this huge spike in Florida as you do in many other states across the country. But the death rate remains extremely low. And I don't see on this particular meter, I don't have hospital rates. Do you know whether hospital rates have increased?
So it's good to see you, David. And yes, the thing is that we have taken a drastically different approach here in Florida to managing COVID. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, yes, we are seeing very, very low rates of hospitalizations and the death rate. For example, we have a comparable population to that of New York, and both of our states are surging, but we have drastically different policies as to how we handle it. So in New York, for example, just this week, they've had about 4,600 hospitalizations, and they're averaging, on daily, and then they're averaging about 60 to 70 deaths on a daily basis. Compare that to Florida, where we are under 30 daily deaths, and our hospitalizations are sitting about 1,400. So even though they're seeing the surges, it's the approach that we've taken that is drastically different amongst a comparable population. Yeah. For example, we have put an emphasis on common sense, and common sense tells us that early treatment saves lives. So the Governor DeSantis and our leaders here in Florida, we've made monoclonal antibody treatment available within 2 hours of every single resident in the state of Florida. We have put a common sense approach, thoughtful, pragmatic approach first by making sure that our first responders, that our hospitals, that our health departments, and our private partners have all the resources available. Contrast that to a heavy-handed top-down approach that we've seen from big government states like New York, and they are seeing higher rates of transmission, higher hospitalizations.
You're hitting close to home, Congresswoman. I got to warn you, but because I live in New York.
Sorry,
but no. But the point is I had COVID and I had the monoclonal antibody treatment. I called the doctor from the hospital. I won't mention which hospital because I don't want to cause any rush or panic on the part of New Yorkers, but he has completely run out of monoclonal antibodies. Now, there is some question as to whether they would be as effective against Omicron. Apparently, some are not as effective as they were against Delta. But in addition to that, you have a labor shortage in hospitals because of the vaccine mandates. There are 8,000 hospital workers that were either fired or quit because of the vaccine mandates. And you don't have that with hospital workers in Florida, do you?
No, in fact, our state legislature under the leadership of Ron DeSantis put in a special session where we protected workers, where we took a stand against the federal government and this unconstitutional mandate coming down to protect our frontline workers here in Gainesville. You mentioned University of Florida. My husband, who's a first responder, he and his crews were under assault by these mandates, and we were going to lose 200 police, fire, and frontline workers, like utility workers. And it was because of our position that mandates are, one, unconstitutional, and the decision to vaccinate is a personal choice in consultation with your doctor. That has led us to being a free state where we see people flocking here. And because, again, we have this incredible leadership, we've been able to source this monoclonal antibody treatment from various sources. So we're not seeing the rationing. Yeah. We're not seeing the shortages.
Well, by the way, now you have now you have the Pfizer and the Merck drug, which was just accepted by the FDA. So there are more therapeutics out there, and that's a very good thing. Because of the fact that you have kept open, you didn't have the lockdowns, you haven't had a lot of the mandates, you don't have the labor shortage. I heard that you have 6 times the job growth rate in Florida that the nation does in general. Is that correct?
Oh man, David, you're taking my talking points. I was just going to mention that, yes, if you compare our job growth rate to that of the nation, we are 6 times higher. And again, it's because we have found the magic sauce, that secret formula, which really isn't so secret, of keeping our doors open, keeping our economy robust and producing while keeping people free and safe. Yeah. And it all comes down to the personal freedoms that every American enjoys, especially here in Florida. And it's, again, that thoughtful, common sense leadership.
Well, and it's not, as you mentioned, It's
our economy.
It's not a secret sauce. It's just common sense. You make it cheaper to do business and you'll have more business. It's really cheaper and easier without mandates and you'll have more business. It's as simple as that, as long as you keep the people safe. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Merry